first question for you. What I'd like you to do is in the chat, share with us your actual job role title. What's your title? Throw that in the chat for me. If you are a consultant, then that's fine. Just put consultant. But what is your actual title? Let's see. All right. We have, let me scroll up here. Okay, we've got contractor, design manager, training and enablement manager, senior instructional designer, learning experience architect, e-learning manager, consultant, instructional designer, training and development manager, learning experience designer, instructional design team lead. Oh, Sherry, nice to see you, founder. Learning experience architect, policy administrator. Very interesting. Hence is my point. When we talk about instructional designers, look at what we have. And maybe your main job role is not necessarily instructional design in of itself. But I think this goes to show the differences that we have in our job roles. A number of years ago, and I could not find it, I wish I could, I took a survey, and this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I took a survey of different people's job titles. And in that survey, there were over 70 different job titles for what we do. 70. So we cannot get consistent on what we call ourselves, much less what we do. And that is the tough part of what we do. And subsequently, I think this is what leads to a perceived perception of anyone can do this. Oh, it's just training, right? Here, go off and make this PowerPoint pretty, and anybody can do that, right? And so I think this is where this perception comes into play. And I'm curious, does anyone want to share their thoughts about the perception of instructional design today, or why we might have this inconsistency in role? Where does learning design fit in? So let me kick off today's chat with asking you that. What are your feelings about your role in instructional design today in 2023? Who would like to start?
Shannon, this is Fatna. If it's okay, could we take a step back? I asked in the chat what industries we work in or what environments. I feel that adds to the conversation because higher ed is going to have a slightly different flavor than someone working in the corporate world. That's just my experience based upon my different roles over the years.
Absolutely. Great question. So in the chat, are you profit, nonprofit, higher ed? Where do you sit?
Shannon?
Healthcare? Yes.
I think it's interesting that Fatna brought that up because I do work in higher ed, and yet the department, the HR department, decided to go through a reorg, and they want to have a learning and organizational development department, which I'm a part of, be a center of excellence. So I think Fatna brings something up that's both maybe it's been systemic within higher ed as far as perhaps a bucking of want to accept or envelope itself into like maybe what we see in corporate environments. And yet I'm here and I get to experience, and I'm riding this tide with my new team on this reorganization and the challenges that comes with it, because I think it was to step towards more of things, philosophies and structures that you see inside of for-profit. And obviously there's still some underpinnings of some of the structures with that had previously existed in higher ed. So just as an anecdotal side note to Fatna's question.
Right. And I think that's a great layer to it. And I'm seeing a variety here of mostly corporate. It seems as though we've got some government work, technology, healthcare, nonprofit, healthcare, for-profit, higher ed. So again, a mix. And yes, I believe where we sit does make a difference around what we do. So whether you work in corporate or if you work in healthcare or nonprofit, for profit, in essence, our job still at its core are the same. We have essentially the same goals, don't we? At least in my view, and your view might be slightly different. For me, being in this particular industry, being in learning and development, be it instructional design or not, I've always seen this as being an advocate for the people, right? How can we help people be smarter, better, faster than they were yesterday? And that to me is the core in my heart. And so I'm curious for you, what is the big purpose for what you do? So if you think about, and you guys can come off mic again and share this with me. If you think about, I serve whom so that they can do what, so that they become better. What is your big purpose when you think about your role as an instructional designer within your organization? How we support individuals in their development as well as to the benefit of the company? Absolutely. So the business is the North Star, isn't it? Helping businesses succeed.